Hey, everybody, and welcome back to 80's Horror Films. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my co-host.
Muskie Madness. Oh, yeah, Rebecca Rinehart. I have been singing this song all day because I watched Bloodhook earlier and it's got three very catchy songs, but that one, been
Yeah, that
singing the
was.
Muskie Madness song all
Uh,
day.
oh, Lordy. Yeah, it was. I don't even remember. Like, it was catchy, but I don't think I remembered any of the songs after it was
Really?
done. I don't know.
Fishin'. How could you forget Vicky Lee and her wonderful hit Fishin'? Come on.
I think I remember her singing that, but I don't
Yeah.
remember, like, I don't even remember the words. I don't know.
Mhm.
I remember there's a lot of fishing things. Like,
Yeah.
there was one point where somebody was like, "This is fishy." And I was like,
Yeah. It's
rolling my
corny.
eyes. I was rolling my eyes. Because it's 80's, and that is like one of the best parts about doing this show is that these movies are very, very like in your face 80's,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
Bloodhook. It's cheesy, it's fun. It's directed by the guy who went on to do Mystery Science Theater 3000,
Mm-hmm.
as an executive producer. Kind of makes sense. With Kevin Murphy, who was a
Yep.
fucking key grip in this movie. I
Right.
mean, that's amazing. And I think actually a few of the people who worked on this actually worked on Mystery Science Theater 3000. The guy who played, was it Finner? That was his name or whatever. He was the, what is it? He was a writer for one of the episodes of Mystery Science Theater
Oh, nice.
3000. So like, it's weird, like,
Yeah. Well, and this is so Mystery Science Theater 3000 is one of my, like, aside from horror and Barbies, as you can see behind me, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is like my other huge passion. Um, and like it's, I don't know, like it's got the goofiness, it's got the groundwork, but it was so organic. Like, I mean, it was all cable access in Minnesota. And this is before that. So you know that they were even smaller than they were when they started. So it is really just a lot of people who this is the only thing a lot of the actors did. I mean, as far as acting goes. Um, this was like, I mean, I feel like this is the kind of movie that we make,
right.
but they made it in 86. I love it.
They made it in 86. Yeah, you're right. It is more like what people would do now. Like, I feel like maybe it's ahead of its time in a way. But it definitely felt 80's and cheesy, and it had all the characters that were sort of stereotypical, kind of characters. Um, Including I really liked the rocker guy with the hair, and everything.
Yeah.
I forgot. I'm trying to remember the character's name. We'll probably go into all the characters, but he reminded me of a Chris Seaver character, you
Yeah.
know. And I was just like,
Yeah.
that's where Chris Seaver got his, like there's like this guy who's like a Ramon style guy or whatever that's in all the Chris Seaver
Right.
movies. And that's, I
Yeah.
think he was mimicked after that guy, it feels like, or at least that was just a random coincidence. I don't know.
And the kids, quote unquote, that go there, that is the most random bunch of people. Like, those are 5 people who never hang out. I love those situations.
Right.
Yeah, because you've got him, and I mean, why is he so into fishing? He's even got like a lure as an earring. Like, he's punk fisher.
He's a punk fisher. Yeah, he was into
Love it.
fishing, but he was not. I don't think he was that good of a fisher.
Well,
The
he was
one,
into it though.
yeah, the one who was really good was Finner.
Mm.
And I was like, they were quick to like think that he was the killer.
Throw him under the bus. Yeah,
I know, right?
Like, instantly. Like, okay, if I invite you, even if I don't like you particularly or I don't get along with you, if I invite you to ride in my car and stay at my grandfather's house with me in a remote area for a weekend, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to instantly tag you as a murderer. Like, it says more about Peter's like character that like he instantly is like, oh, it's got to be Finner.
When I first saw it, I thought that Peter was the killer.
Oh, really?
Like maybe like it brought up some traumatic issues with them or something, that he
He
was the
is a red
killer.
herring.
Yeah, and I thought of that because also when he threw the guy under the bus at first, I was like,
Deflection.
He must be like in on the whole thing or whatever. But no, he was just a poor guy who watched his grandfather disappear, and we never saw like what happened or how like but I'm guessing it was a hook that came and grabbed him and pulled him under the water or something.
A big old hook.
I guess,
17 years ago. There's a surprising amount of science in this movie, like actual science. So this all happened 17 years ago, and now it's happening again. And that brings in the cicadas that come out every 17 years, which for a Midwesterner, that's kind of a big thing. We've got the Devil's Tritone, which I don't know anything about music, but I actually have looked this up before, and it is a real thing. It was actually banned by churches.
Which that Evelyn guy kept calling the Devil's Triangle.
Trinity, triangle. He kept like using different words.
Yeah, he didn't know the right word. And then and Peter never corrected him. And I'm just like, why wouldn't you say, hey, it's the tritone, or whatever, because you're getting it wrong. I guess it didn't matter,
Like Aunt Martha says, water under the bridge.
I guess. So yeah. So we've got, let's go through the characters. So when we talked about Peter, but Peter Van Cleese was played by Mark Jacobs, who I mentioned when I said I looked very much like Nick Cage.
Low rent Nick Cage is what I've always thought of him as.
Well, have you seen him in other stuff, or is this just really the only thing you've seen him?
Most of these people, like I said, there are some people who went on to be in the film industry, but most of them did not go back to be actors. Now he does have, let's see. He did a few things. Strangely enough, he did a role, which I'm sure was very small, in Goodfellas in 1990. Yeah, Bloodhook and Goodfellas. That's his resume. Yeah.
Hey, Rebecca, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because it did say my internet was unstable, so it was for a second. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's all right. This movie's unstable. But yeah, the other people have done a few things. I know that the girl who played Anne, she was a waitress who auditioned for it.
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't even an actress, surprisingly. No, I like all the characters. That's one of the things I like about this movie is I liked all the characters. I like the kids.
Well, she was also in a like the last thing she's done so far is she was in Playback starring Christian Slater. I remember that, like I remember the box of it in the hand coming up and everything, and she plays a character named Anne in that as well. So apparently typecast as an Anne,
I guess so.
But anyway, also, yeah, so there's that girl who played, I thought she was good. I thought for a person who's just a waitress who just wanted to get in acting and, probably expected this to be like her only, thing or whatever. And she did some more stuff. So good for her. Rodney, the guy we liked with the hair and everything, the punk rocker guy, was played by Patrick Dans, and I think he's been in some other stuff. Yeah, he was in Grizzly Mountain he was a set designer for Grizzly Mountain. He was in was it 2 episodes of Red Shoe Diaries?
Oh, Skinamax.
Yeah, you remember those days?
Oh yeah.
Actually, he did. Oh, no, never mind. He did art direction for that. So he didn't even act in it. That would have been nice, though, to know that he acted in that. Kirsten, the girl that I was like, why is she even here? Like, she just didn't even seem like she was enjoying her time there.
No, this was not her thing. Yeah.
You're right to say, like, every character sort of didn't. It almost didn't even feel like they were like, why were they all friends? Did they even all know each other?
Yeah, Peter and Anne made sense. The rest of them.
Yeah, they're all random.
Like, I don't think any of them liked Finner, really.
Yeah, well, as easy as they threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, and was it Kirsten?
Pearson,
Well,
yeah, she's the apathetic one.
she was just so weird. She's such a strange character. She was just there.
Yeah.
And then she was, I guess she was trying to get with Peter. And I'm like, I'm so confused by the relationship. Like, was Peter dating Anne or not dating Anne?
It was confusing. I think there was a lot of things for them to unpack. There were a lot of unresolved issues between the two of them.
Right. And she, like, the funny thing is, I guess Anne was the psychology major girl or something. So the whole time she's talking about, it's him dealing with his past trauma, and that's why he's casting his, his was it fit into the water to get through. And I'm like, well, what? Like, I mean, I'm like, I think you're thinking way too deeply into this. I think
now,
there.
I will say I would not want to go back there, like, and just have fun after what I saw. But it has been 17 years, so that's okay. And he is like a pretty, I'm assuming, kind of an accomplished fisherman. He's got the musky madness. He's got to go work that out a little bit. But yeah, and then Anne was like a tag along, but Kirsten, she was just like apathetic. And the family who arrives in the RV God. Crack me up. I love them.
I know. Okay, I'm hit or miss on it because I had this theory now that the movie is just a little bit too long. It's like an hour.
It's almost 2 hours, which is really long for a horror comedy, goofy ass movie.
And I think if they literally just took out the family, which, I mean, other than for comedy and for fun, it might have been a little, you know what I mean? Like, because really, other than to add a couple more kills for the mom and dad.
The dad has like one of the best kills. And then the kids, at least the son, I mean, he does play a role in determining who the killer is.
Well, he tells them that he's a metal in the head, which anybody could have saw that. That wasn't like, he wasn't hiding it, or whatever. So it, honestly, I mean, he wasn't really needed. And other than more
did we need this movie? No, but we got it, so I'm taking it. I love it.
All right. Like I said, though, I feel like for a while I kept looking at my clock, and
it is
never a good sign when you're.
It is a little long, and there seems to be like a really long lull where they think that Finner did it. Like, I think they could really have like cropped a lot of that out, but big deal. And I also like that. How did they know that Finner's dead? They have his ear. I'm pretty sure
that was his ear.
Well, and I'm pretty sure I could go cut off my ear right now and live a happy life. Like, that doesn't mean he's dead. It's like instantaneous. Oh my God, he's dead.
Well, it was that. And also, like, okay, it was just a ear, right? Like, it could be anybody's ear. Like, they couldn't, but it would have been better if it were the ear of the other guy.
Right, because he had the earring.
So that's very specific. You would see that earring and you'd be like, oh my God, it's whatever. They just had a plain ear.
Yeah, it didn't even look like a human ear. It looked like some kind of like kid's trick ear that you would buy at the dollar store.
Probably was. Just kind of made, like a little gooey or whatever. I read that the prop Muskie or whatever, the big fucking thing that they have the little metal in or whatever, that was actually a real muskie that somebody had caught, and it was a taxidermist thing because they tried to make a prop of it, couldn't do it. It just came out looking bad, so they made they found a taxidermist who actually had a fresh one, I guess, and they used it, and then by the end of the 3 weeks it looked like crap, by then or whatever.
I feel sorry for the customer who gave that to the taxidermist to stuff.
Why you say that? Why?
because it would have been so gross by the time that they got it back. You know,
Yeah.
somebody probably caught it, gave it to the taxidermist, said, "Hey, can you mount this?" And then the taxidermist gave it to this like hack film crew who like it just tossed it
It was their
around.
first movie. Like this was everybody's first
Yeah.
movie too. Like they didn't know what they're
Yeah.
fucking doing.
Yeah.
You know, so like I would have been like, nah, I kind of want to keep it. No.
Yeah. So this movie, one of the reasons why I love it, not just because of the goofiness and you know the Mystery Science Theater 3000, but also I live on a lake. And so the grandpa's house and the lake and everything remind me a lot of my lake. Like I have that like super, like you're standing at the top and it's like a crater. It's just like a really steep drop off, these stairs that you have to go to get to the lake. And it always reminds me of like my summer. Like I get excited for my summer when I see this. And then I always remember that I should probably build one of those little railway things that they have that take them down. That is pretty awesome. You know, if you've ever lived with my plight of having to like schlep a bunch of stuff all the way down these steep steps, that was pretty awesome.
And you're right. It just kind of like it's nice because we're going to be putting this out in May, and I know we talked the last time about you don't have to watch things during the time, and we're not. We're watching this in spring. However, this will be out in May, and the what is it? The movie sort of sets up for summer. You know,
yeah, it's got a good vibe for like summer and spring. It's got a good natural kind of flow because it is a bunch of people from Minnesota and Wisconsin. And it's fishing, and it's not spring break with a bunch of scantily clad girls in Florida, which is generally what we saw at this point in time. It just had a really good atmosphere, and we have not mentioned the most important part of this movie, and that is Bev D. Bev D is the most adorable person ever. I love her. It hurts me every time she dies.
Oh yeah.
She's kind of clueless on the parenting. I will give her that. She does not take very good care of that. At
first,
kid.
I thought she was like a babysitter because like she did not seem like a mother, you know, that was taking care of her kid. She seemed like a babysitter that was like distracted by ADHD.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to put you in a playpen and then I'm going to go take a jog, or like I'm just going to sit you on the sand and I'm going to like do my exercises and pay absolutely no attention to you. And I mean, this kid was like 2 years old, you know.
I'm sure that kid loves the fact that he's in, you know, Blood Hook. I wonder who is that kid? Like, I wonder, because he would be like my age, a little younger than me now. Because if he was like 2 back in 86, that would be literally, he would have been born in 84. I was born in 82. So he would be 2 years younger than me, 38 years old.
I don't even remember what the kid's name was, but most of the people in here do not have a picture on IMDb. So I'm guessing, even including Bev D, man, this is the only thing she's done. I just adore her. It just kills me. But she's got so much enthusiasm about her job. Yeah. Bev D, man.
I'm not sure. So
yeah, I don't remember what the kid's name is. I'm sure he was somebody's kid. I mean, I'm sure they didn't pay.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe it was uncredited and they didn't credit him on IMDb, you know. Maybe the kid doesn't want to be credited on IMDb.
Unless it's this Dickie, maybe.
That's what I was thinking. Is like
Dana.
It was
Rimker.
the Dana.
Dana Rimker.
Yeah, but maybe I don't know. Generally, Dana is a guy's name, but
it can be a guy's name.
But most of the times it's a girl's name, and so I mean, sometimes girls play little boys, you know. And,
yeah, because this kid was completely young enough to have been androgynous.
Yeah, so you never know.
And clueless.
And
not playing at the edge of a lake. We're not even talking about a kiddie pool. He was at the edge of a lake, and she just left him there.
So I was rewatching a movie that I love that was made in Texas that is a zombie movie. I don't usually like zombie movies, but it's made by a friend of mine. It's called Zombie Campout. And there was like a scene with like a little kid that pops in the movie. And I guess it was like the director's son or somebody's son, you know, and they're like, "Oh, your little brother wants to hang out," and that's what it felt like. Like they're just like, "This little kid's here. Let's throw him in
Right.
the movie," because you only see him twice in the movie, right?
Mhm.
Just to set up that the guy that Bev D is a mom, and what was she with Evelyn, Evelyn or whatever it is? Was she with
Evelyn, yeah.
Evelyn? Which isn't that the name of like a He-Man character?
Well, Evelyn wouldn't be, but yeah, they did kept saying Evelyn.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah,
maybe they were thinking of like they were gonna get a girl to play that role or something, and then they couldn't, so they got a guy, and they just never changed the name, and they just made it Evelyn or something. I don't know, or whatever. Once again, another red herring, because like at one point they point the gun at him, point the finger at him and say he's the killer, you know. When
I think
he
it pretty much I think there's probably a point they thought the kid was a killer. I mean, they really went heavy on the red herrings in this movie.
They try to make you think like somebody was the killer, and who. But I will say this, I will give them credit for this. They did one thing that shocked me, which was they showed you who the killer was pretty quick in the movie. Like it was not, how most movies like take until like the last 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden there's the big reveal, or the last 30 minutes or whatever. They showed this like, I guess it was like 50 minutes in or something, an hour in.
Yeah, which is halfway for this movie. So
yeah, so you got to know, which I liked, because it made you know, okay, this guy's the killer. So now this is the new Jason that they're trying to find. This is the new Freddy or whoever,
right. I mean, it's like the mutilator. The mutilator they just go, there you go. Here's your killer.
Well, that was very quick. That was like the first like 5 minutes of the movie. You find that out. But even then, I was like, when I watched it again, I was like, wait, was he going to be the killer, or was that just still a red herring? Like this guy's here at the house. Like you just never know with these movies and slasher films. They try to change things up on you, or whatever, and make you guess, and that's fun.
It's part of the fun of it.
Yeah, it's a whodunit.
Now, I will say the one thing that it doesn't bother me, but so the movie was originally called Muskie Madness, which makes more sense. Bloodhook makes sense too, but one of the many movies in the 80s that got picked up for distribution by Troma and got kind of traumatized, if you will. So this the cover, the original cover, which I happen to have the Vinegar Syndrome re-release, is a very scantily clad blonde woman who does not appear in the film, which I have no problem with. That was very, very prominent in the 80s, as we know, with this huge hook. At least they got that right. It says, "You can't worm your way out." Like, yep.
And then
and so that's obviously such a trauma thing.
You can change it around to the other one.
Yes. So the one that you have behind you. Yeah.
Yes.
The more Vinegar Syndrome-y. But you notice that both of us have chosen this as the cover.
I mean, it's a scantily clad woman in a being hooked, and I felt like it was more fun. Like the one that's behind me is a little bit more serious and stuff,
right. This is what I rented when I was younger, right. Right. I wouldn't have rented the other one. Well, I mean, I probably would.
You probably would.
Who am I kidding? But this does have more of the wackiness, but it really doesn't portray the movie very well.
Yeah, no, totally. I agree. I think the I don't know. Yeah. If I had to choose between the two, I'd choose this one because that's the one I picked. And it's funny because so when you get the Blu-ray, it comes in both, but the DVD is the more the DVD is the goofy one, and the Blu-ray is.
You know what? I wouldn't know because I gave my Blu-ray or my DVD to somebody to let him watch it, and he never returned it, and I have not spoken to him since.
I don't blame you. I gave my friend, who I see almost every Sunday, Shredder, so that they could watch it and review it, like give us a stinkometer score for it. I have not seen it yet in like a little over a month. I'm getting really like I'm I'm about to like let him know you got to watch it like in the next month so I can at least have it back because I'll forget.
It's probably at a half price books at this point in time.
No. He wouldn't do that to me. You know, that's fucked up. You know, like people that do that, that's no. I'm borrowing a movie and I got to return it to one of my other friends. So I know how it is.
I tend to not borrow things because of that. I don't like to be responsible for other people's belongings.
I generally don't, but like if it's something hard to find, like I borrowed my friend's Project Greenlight, season 1, and that's just it's hard to find. I'd have to buy that from like eBay or something, and probably more expensive than I want to purchase right now. So I was like, let me borrow it because I just was in the mood to see, filmmaking, or whatever. But yeah, but anyway. Point being that go back to Bloodhook.
If we go back to the characters too, the other one that we haven't mentioned that is like, it had to have been done on purpose. I know it was because you do know Jim Mellon's sense of humor. But the sheriff is obviously like 30 years old with like that silver spray paint shit in his hair and his beard.
He's supposed to look older than he actually is. He's supposed to
look like 70 or something, and they just spray painted him like it's a shot on video movie or something. Because that's what they would do a lot of times. They're like shot on video. They were like, all we have is like my brother, so we're gonna make him an old person. They probably had a little bit more at their disposal for this movie, but they were probably like, yeah, you know what, Paul wants to be in it. Let's just spray his hair and let's make him the sheriff.
That's true. Yeah, and I guess what probably happened was he went to the audition, did a damn good job, and they were like, he's the sheriff, but and then they looked at each other and go, well, he's not 50, he's not 60 years old. How are we gonna make him the sheriff? And just put some spray paint. They'll be fine.
I mean, we're using comically large. I know deep sea fishing uses like bigger hooks and bigger pulls and bobbers and all that, but I mean, we're using this comically large, like foot-long bobber, and this hook that like could get a shark.
And Finner's tassels on his thing, I guarantee you that was only so that they could find it later and go, that's Finner's.
Oh, yeah.
Because like that way, that's specific. Just like if they had the ear and the ear had the earring, like that would totally make, that makes more sense.
So I don't know a lot about fishing, but in fishing, competitive fishing, I guess, you want to keep people from cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one guy did, like our killer did, by putting a piece of metal in the fish to make it heavier. Like, why was Finner not allowed to use the tassels? Why is that considered like against the rules? Like that?
I don't think it was. I don't think it was. Because remember,
they told him at the beginning, because when he was casting at first, he was casting into that little round thing. Like he was like, yeah, and they were like, you can't have those tassels.
No. I'm going to disagree with you on this, because and see if you agree with me on this. So Finner, what was that one guy? The asshole character that was cheating, a bunch of times or whatever. Yeah. He wasn't the killer. He was what's his name? Denny, was it Denny Dobbin? No, that's the other guy. That's he was he was
one of the crusty old guys. Yeah, he wasn't
the crusty old guy. Yeah. But he wasn't the killer, because the killer was the guy that ran the bait shop or whatever. He was the one who won later. But then the guy came up and said, "Hey, you
are right about that." And that guy was just a competition person anyway. Yeah. So he had no authority.
So he was just competing. And it was supposed to be the idea was you were supposed to be able to defeat this guy. If you could get your thing into that bucket, right, you would defeat him. So he did, and he did. And so did you notice he looked at him and said, "Oh, look at those tassels." Ho, 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 right? Yeah. Wow. Did you get that off your tricycle?
That's exactly what it looks like. I'm sorry.
It does, and it probably was. That's probably why they made that joke. But anyway, so he goes and he hooks it in, and then he goes, Nope, can't have tassels on her. You're
Right.
disqualified.
Okay.
He was the one who said it. They didn't.
Yeah.
They gave him the hat. They said he won. They were like, you can't believe anybody can actually beat that guy, or whatever. You really should.
Okay, I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you. Yeah.
He didn't disqualify. Now that guy later, you see him, and he's the one with the big fish that had like the little potato chip holder or whatever, like clip on the thing, so that he knows which fish is his and everything when he catches it and all this crap. So, and then was it the bat? No, it was the other guy who was also a red herring. He's the older guy, the other crystal guy, realizes this guy's cheating, dumps the fish back into the water, and that's the fish they catch later, right?
Yeah.
So they catch that one fish. I don't know which one it was, if it was Finner, if it was the other guy, caught the big ass fish. I think it was Finner, caught the big ass fish in the water, and then they take it home, and that was the one that obviously wasn't fake and dead already, and
and probably very stinky.
I was really upset at first because I thought they killed the fish in order to do the movie and stuff. And if you know me, I'm really like, Kate wants me to do like a extreme podcast thing with Paul and her, and watch movies like Cannibal Holocaust, which has real life death in it, and animal death and stuff. I can't watch that. Like, I'm an animal lover. Like, it hurts,
Yeah, but like, somebody else killed that fish.
Yeah, somebody else did at some point, but not for the movie. That's the difference to me.
No, to hang it on their wall as a trophy.
Yeah, and that's terrible. That's a horrible, horrible thing. But I don't know. It's weird. I'm like, if you killed it just for the sake of the movie, like, oh, we need a dead fish in this movie, let's go and actual kill a fish, and then, what I mean? Like, that's to me. But I did hear that the people who did, kill the animals or whatever, they did feed people with it. So
right, in Cannibal Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust. So it sort of made me feel a little better that it didn't go to waste of like, oh, we're just going to kill this thing and like toss it aside after the movies, after we shoot the scene. So like, at least, because I eat meat. Like, I'm not going to be somebody who says I'm totally against killing animals, or whatever for food, but I am one of the people who I will not kill an animal. I don't hunt, I don't fish, even though most of the fishing is catching the fish and throwing it back into the lake. I still can't do it because I feel terrible for just reeling in a fish. Like, I just, what I mean? Like, I'm like, this fish is just swimming around, just, like minding its own business. And now it's being bothered for like 1 hour so somebody can take a fucking photo. Like, it doesn't, I don't like fishing, so I like that this movie is about a fisherman who's fishing people. I think that
it is fucking... yeah. And that actually gives us to the best thing in this movie is when Finner dies and he puts, I don't even know what that's called, when they put the thing in the fish's mouth, the rope to tie it to keep it fresh in the water after they catch it, and he does it to him. And then later we see like 3 or 4 people who are all bloated and disgusting, who like got the hook in their mouth, and they're tied to the dock. Oh man, that is so good. I love that.
Apparently that scene of him putting the hook in the guy's mouth and having it come out and then carrying him was the thing that gave it like an X rating at first.
Well, and the thing is though, they didn't have to cut it. The thing I read is just somebody made a deal. So I don't know if that meant like there was something else in the movie that they cut, because that was a trick that a lot of people did in the 80s. They were like, well, we know the MPAA is going to cut this, so let's put this thing that's worse so we can bargain, like this thing that we don't want in there. We're going to put that in so we can say, okay, well, if we can leave this one, we'll take this one out. Like, so I don't know if that's what kind of deal they made.
I don't know. I would be like, in the MPAA, I'd be like, take both of them out, idiots. Like, we don't want either of them, but whatever. I mean, whatever deals or
well, and this is such a small movie, and like, I'm surprised it even got a rating. Like, I mean, I guess still home video.
Yeah, it had to get a rating, especially also if it wanted to go into the theaters, and I guarantee
Yeah,
it
I'm
did go
sure it
to
was like
theaters for a little bit.
very limited theater release,
Yeah.
I guarantee.
Like, where do they shoot this in? Like Maryland or something?
No, it's in this is actually in Minnesota or Wisconsin. I don't remember. I think Wisconsin is where it takes place.
Okay.
But the Muskie itself, I believe that Muskie is in Minnesota.
Okay.
I may be wrong.
Is it
It
still
may actually
there,
be
I wonder?
Wisconsin. Yes, it is.
Have you
And
been there?
No, but I want to make a road trip. But yes,
Wow.
that gigantic Muskie is yeah. I mean, I guarantee that's what they were driving, taking a road trip and went by and said, "Oh man, we got to put that in a movie."
We can make a whole movie based on that big ass Muskie.
Yes, yes.
And then we'll call it They should have called it Muskie Massacre.
Oh man. Well, so apparently Trauma took the muskie part out anyway because they were afraid that like people who weren't like from the Midwest wouldn't know what a muskie was.
I told my dad the title, and my dad was like, I don't know, like, I said muskie. Was it originally a muskie?
Muskie
Madness, which, that was the name of the festival that they were at. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way,
in the song "Muskie Madness," whoa.
There you go. We could have a whole episode of just you singing all these
all the songs. Ooh, I should get the soundtrack.
I know. Is there a soundtrack for it?
Oh, I bet there is. I have a soundtrack for Redneck Zombies. There's got to be a soundtrack for Bloodhook. I got to tell you that.
Pericles, man, I love that dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, it freaking awesome. I love so Muskie Madness, and I was thinking when I was watching it, going, wait, were they planning to go to this thing, or was it just like happening at the same time that they came up to it?
Oh no, they were there for that. I mean, they had all their gear and shit. They were like ready.
No, I thought they were just going to go fishing. I thought that's all they were planning. I don't remember them saying, "Oh, I can't wait to go to this festival," and win this festival.
It seems kind of coincidental that they would go there. And it's obviously something that happens every year, and Peter is very familiar with this area, so I would think he would know.
Well, even though he hasn't been to it, I think, since his grandpa's disappearance, right? Like it didn't seem like he's been up there. Didn't even seem to remember the land guy, the guy who runs the landscaper guy or whatever, he didn't remember him or whatever, because because
he was so young. Yeah,
I know. So like that's what I'm saying. So I think, and he didn't say something to him like, "I remember you when you were a little bratty kid," and blah, blah, like I would have loved to see that. Like I would have loved to have seen him say something about, because he had he had been there before his grandpa's disappearance, so and it was interesting because okay, so to go back to the whole idea of the movie is that like every 17 years cicadas come out, and in 17 years cicadas come out, and that noise plus music or some other kind of loud noise makes this guy go crazy and want to kill people, I guess, only then, which makes me go, wait, what? Because only then does he go like crazy, like, I'm gonna kill you. Because like at one point it would be really cool if he kind of felt sorry. I mean, there's nothing he can do. Like if he knows he's killed these things, he's not gonna go around and say, okay, I give myself up, right? He's gonna hide the bodies, do everything. But if he was just normal and stuff, they make why even drive him to go nuts? With the music, like why do that? Why because
it's the trigger, and it makes him a sympathetic character because he can't help it. Because he's got the plate in his head and it's reverberation, and again, a lot of science behind this. But what kills me is 17 years ago, he went nuts and only killed one person. Now, I don't know if you guys get cicadas where you are.
We do,
Virginia.
Yes.
I mean, like we get, not even when we have cicada. It's like certain types of cicadas, but we always have, whatever those are. I guess they're crickets or whatever. And it can get like deafening, for weeks and weeks. Like you're just outside and like There was a time this past summer, we did have the weird cicadas come back. Like Rob and I we're gonna go for a walk. We opened the garage door and it was like there was this sonic like and we were just like, no, we can't go outside. Like we had to shut the door and we were like, we're just gonna watch movies inside in the air conditioning because it's so annoying. So I can't imagine that there was just one day where somebody was playing that music with the cicadas going and he just killed the one person. Now,
so you think that there's more bodies?
Well, no, I mean, they said that the grandpa was the only disappearance or, disappearance.
Maybe.
That's what they said, but then again,
yeah.
you know how law enforcement can be in a small town.
Well, apparently they never found any other bodies,
Yeah.
That was the whole bit. Like he kept saying, there's no body, I can't do anything. And it's true. Like that's a big thing. Like you don't have a body, but can you, they could have still showed, because at one point, Peter finds like the body parts and stuff, in the
right. But they're like, well, all we got is body parts. We need a whole body. Like,
and
really?
I'm like,
but an ear is enough to prove that your friend died.
Yeah, right. So so you could have probably gone to the police and said, look, he's got fucking bodies in the refrigerator. Like this is a little
well, but he would chop them up and serve them to the fish. They do make mention of that. So maybe he did kill more people before, but it just wasn't as big of a deal. Also, the original happened in 68. Now we're talking 86, I guess 85, and like everybody had a boombox in this movie. Every single person had a battery operated boombox. In 68, not too many people had a radio. And I think maybe that was part of it too, is the whole how ubiquitous music, personal music was.
True, because the guy had that big ass was a stereo like the no, I'm talking about not the ghetto blaster, but like in
you mean
the
dad or the grandpa. Yeah,
he was the dad. He looked young to be a grandfather, He
probably should have been the sheriff.
I know. That would have been better, I think. If they had
I like the way the sheriff was. I like the way he played it, though. I think it was very tongue in cheek and.
If you made that movie nowadays, you would have Eric Roberts be the grandfather.
That's right.
And he would die in the first 5 minutes, and you never see him again. You know what I mean?
We got him for one day, man.
We got him for one day. He
wouldn't interact with any of the main cast.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to, we just have him for the one kid with the one kid. And oh my God. So the thing that pissed me off the most was the beginning of the movie. It has the sun going down the whatever the fucking thing
yes, the thing I want to build at my house. Yes.
Yeah, no, and it's great. It's cool. It's cool the first time you see it. But then we see it again and again, and we have to watch the people go down it for like when that girl is hitting the thing, and we have to I'm like, come on, hurry up, the movie. I'm not even in suspense because the dude's literally I'm just doing this as slow as I can. And
that is one of the hallmarks of one of the things that Mystery Science Theater 3000 will teach you about filmmaking is when somebody drives a car, you need to see them from the time they leave the house out the door to the car, the whole time they're driving and going into the next place. So maybe there is a little something there.
I don't know, because I know they made fun of what is it? Sinister Urge, the Ed Wood directed movie or whatever, where they were making fun of him. They were and we're driving out of here. We pull out, and then we drive down this road, and then we there's us driving again.
Yeah,
and I was just that's what it feels like.
Birdemic.
Oh my God.
I mean,
God.
So many movies use that to pad the movie or to show their production value. And so, yes,
I'm just
part of me wants to think that was done on purpose, as making
fun of
that. Yeah.
Well, it's also supposed to be suspense, right? Because it was supposed to be like, it's coming, it's coming.
It's going so slowly. Like, yeah, that point it is. But yeah, we had to watch the one girl go down it, so she could go float, yeah.
No. It was, I don't know. It was fun.
It gave me more time to like examine the engineering of it.
Give you time to actually see it in motion.
I've got my schematics out. Like, It also reminds me of American Gothic.
Wait, are you actually on a lake though? Like, do you?
Yeah.
So you live like by the lake, right? So you could actually build one of those things.
Yeah. See?
That's awesome. So you could build one of those things.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I'm on the steepest, tallest property on the whole lake. Like, it's literally like this to get down to the lake because it's a natural lake. It's a crater.
Either they made that for the movie and they really, really wanted to show it because it cost them a lot of money to fucking make, or they found it somewhere.
They probably somebody had it.
And they're like, this would be cool to, like.
In this movie, this is another thing about this movie. So one of so I did this panel on filmmaking on how to make a movie with like a limited budget, limited crew. And like one of the suggestions that I had was, I'm like, use what you have. Like, I'm not a huge fan of writing a movie around what you have. But like, if you like every movie, I can guarantee every movie that I've been in that's been filmed in Indianapolis has had a lake scene. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got it, write it in. And so I guarantee that was one of those things, like somebody had that house and they're like, okay, we're going to do that. And like the Muskie thing, which I think is just like I don't want to say it's like a state park kind of thing, but I think it's just like a public use kind of thing. They probably didn't have to like really get any permits or anything for that. I think they did a really good job in incorporating things that they had at their disposal that made it unique. And those are two like predominant ones right there.
Like it's like the Robert Rodriguez thing. Like he had a turtle and a suitcase or whatever, and was it a guitar case?
A guitar case, like, yeah.
Let's just make El Mariachi, Yeah. So it makes sense. Like use what you have, but like, like the Muskie thing, I think was like they literally found that and they're like, that would be a great idea, for a movie, I don't know if necessarily they're always thinking horror film, but they were like, because honestly, they could have made a comedy out of this sort of thing, a bunch of friends come out for a weekend and hang out and, and hilarity ensues, you know what I mean, at this, thing. But they did horror because indie horror films do a lot better.
Well, this is comedy. In the 80s, horror was everything. So this was filmed in Hayward, Wisconsin. Because I don't like to leave loose ends. It was filmed in Hayward, Wisconsin. This is the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame, is the Muskie.
Okay.
So it is in Wisconsin. It is still open. It is closed at the moment, but it does open tomorrow.
Oh, great. Oh, no. Fuck. Oh, shit.
I did talk for a while.
Okay, good.
And then it was like, recording stopped. I'm like, oh, well, okay.
I know. It told me recording stopped, but then it did this last night too. So I'm guessing it's going to do this again tonight when I do another one. But yeah, my internet will cut me off. And then if you talk for like, I don't know, a while or whatever, my internet's messing up. So it just cut off on me, but it's okay. Yeah. It's all right. We're here. We're back.
We're back. Okay. So we can wrap this up.
Yes. So yeah, I guess to wrap it up, I did love it. Like I did love rewatching it. Once again, I think it could have been shorter. I don't know what I would have cut out, other than maybe the family, but then you need that there because the way that everything is all set up now, So I guess, I mean, I don't know. It was a fun movie. I'd watch it. I watch it again and again. I'd probably watch it close to every summer, to get me ready for summer, like you said. So, what about you? Do you watch this a lot?
Yes. Well, I watch it at least once a summer. And I mean, I have to say, yeah, this is not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but
Hmm.
this is a really fun movie that just has a really good atmosphere. It has some really unique elements to it. It has people that you appreciate and you can actually identify with. It has some people that you can just be like, what the fuck are you doing there? And it also, it doesn't rely on a bunch of hot kids or, I mean, the kids are just kind of normal looking. There's nobody
Hmm.
who's just like super fantastic, good looking. It was just very different for the time.
Well, I
Um,
mean, there's low rent Nick Cage, so he was sort of probably
eh,
the
eh.
one that like people would, I guess, be interested in.
I
Or
think that Kirsten girl is about the closest thing to like, a hotsy totsy.
yeah, that's true. But Anne was cute. I thought she was a
Oh
cute
yeah, they
girl.
were. I mean, they were all like okay, but I mean, It wasn't made a big deal about. It wasn't about them all just like hooking up and boobs and blah blah blah.
Well, there was supposed to be more boobs in
Yeah,
it, and apparently she was supposed to show her
her
boobs, but
tatas, but didn't.
but she did side boob, and I was like, I hadn't seen it in a while, so I forgot. Like I watched this in 2020 because back then we were doing stuff for Indie Film Cafe, and I was trying to figure out videos to do by myself, right? So I was like, oh, I'm gonna do the Blu-ray hunter. So I'll just review Blu-ray movies, that I have. And I went looking through my collection and I was like, I've never seen Bloodhook. Let me do
Oh.
that. And I'm gonna review it, you know. And I reviewed it and I watched it. And so I hadn't seen it since like 2 years, basically. I think is literally 2 years ago. April of 2020, was when I think I did it. So it was sort of like a thing where I watched it and I go, oh my God, this is actually a pretty decent movie. Like I thought it would be schlocky. I know it pops up saying trauma from the very beginning, so
Right.
what
It
you're in
sets the
for.
bar kind of low. It really
Yeah,
does. I mean, I
you
won't
know,
lie, but
anything produced by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hurst, you're like, you know what, this is gonna be, what you're in for.
yeah.
But it was sort of fun and cute, and it's something I definitely watch more because it's a cute little thing. I I don't know. I've never seen. I need to see the extras. There's a bunch of extras on here, and I need to check those out at some point, like interviews with the director, and interview with Lisa Todd, and
The effects
there's
guy.
yeah, and the effects guy, and then there's an audio interview with the cinematographer, editor, Marsha Com. So there's stuff to look at and check out, but it's it's a movie that is not high on the list of like movies that 80's horror films. Like this is no The Thing, you know, um, or anything like 80's that is just more Hollywood. This is a very
Oh
low
no.
budget and fun and cheesy, and but Vinegar Syndrome, I love them because they'll
Oh
they'll
yeah.
do a lot of trauma stuff, but then they'll do a lot of other stuff, a lot of like really good fucking movies. Like Cutting Class is one of my
Hmm.
favorites too, and I think they did that as well. And Welcome Home, Brother Charles, or something like that, or you know, a bunch of that stuff. So good, good movies.
Well, I just looked on my letterboxed and I gave this a 4.5 stars out of 5, and I'm sticking with that.
Is that what we do? 4.5? Or did we do
5 out of 5. Yeah.
out of 5? So okay, I keep forgetting what
I
these
know.
every one I do. I have the stinkometer for some. I have an
Most confusing
ABC
thing.
for a horror film. Yeah, that's
The
definitely confusing.
stingometer is very confusing because I can't navigate it because
Well,
I'm
sometimes it's hard because even if it's stinky, you still love it.
right.
So you have to still say it's stinky. It's like this movie would be considered a stinky movie, or whatever. But as far as like I would enjoy it. If I had to put it on the stinkometer, it'd be low on my stinkometer because even though it has some stink to it, it's pretty much fun and enjoyable and not like it's not a bad movie, at
No.
all. So
And most of the stink is intentional.
yeah. I'd probably give it 4 stars on my
Fair enough.
on my letterbox. I think I would like it. I don't know if I would, watch it over and over and over and over again. Doing research and finding out that the executive producer of Mystery Science Theater 3000 directed this, and this is like, this was probably his start of like, wanting to get into that, like loving B movies and stuff, like he did one of, I'm surprised they haven't done this for Mystery Science Theater 3000. Wouldn't that be funny? Like
They haven't done any trauma. It's probably rights. I would assume they probably can't get rights to trauma.
Why can't they? I'm sure Lloyd would love that. That's exposure for Lloyd.
Tommy and Neil Breen won't let them do his movies.
Well,
Riff Tracks has a riff only of the room. Like you have to play the movie on your own, and it's just the jokes. That's what it's called. It's just the riff track because they can't actually do the movie because Tommy won't let them.
Really? Oh, that's a bummer.
Some people are like that.
Well, I mean, a lot of them think that they're making art, when this movie, obviously they're just making fun, making a fun.
I dig this. Watch it every summer. Love it. Would totally suggest it.
Definitely. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Oh, fuck. All right. You're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, can you see me? Can you hear me? Nope. Yeah. For a second. No, yeah. So I'd recommend this movie for everybody who's into that. So 4 stars. You said 4.5.
Yep. I
think that's perfect. So thank you guys so much for checking us out. Join us next month when it is Rebecca's movie. I picked this, so I have no idea what did you have a clue what you're gonna do yet?
I mean, I had a whole list of things, but I do believe The Burning is probably gonna be next.
Oh, another slasher. I think I own that one too. If not, it's on like Amazon or something. But it's if not, I might even just buy it on, I think I own it. I don't think I have to do that. So I'm a huge slasher fan, as you are. So an 80s slasher. So but thank you guys for checking this out and join us next month for The Burning. I think probably we'll find out next month what we do. And everybody checks us out on 80s horror films on Facebook. We have a group. And also check us out. I think it's on Instagram too. I think there's an 80s horror film on Instagram as well page.
We're somewhere.
Yeah, and we'll be on TikTok things, and fun stuff like that. So also check out indiefilmcafe.podbean.com and indiefilmcafe.reviews. Also, if you want to throw in a buck for our Patreon, we've got Indie Film Cafe or Patreon. Patreon.com/Indie Film Cafe. So thank you guys for checking this out and have a good one.
Hey, go catch some of that musky madness.
I felt like you were going to sing again. It's awesome.
I was gonna.
Sorry.
I was gonna.
Right. Everybody have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Horror films.